So today we are proving that Board Game Geek is not the end-all, be-all, and we will each be highlighting 2 games with a rank of 1,000 or more. Okay, so lower than 1,000, even though that means the number is a larger number. You know, anything above 1,000, nothing in the BGG top 100, nothing like that. So we each brought 2 games, and we're gonna let our lovely guest Alba start us out.
Okay. For my first game, I brought a game that comes in a teeny tiny box. It only takes about 20 to 30 minutes to play, 2-player only. Actually, that's not true. There is a solo mode. It is ranked 6,863 on Board Game Geek.
Whoa.
And it is a route building kind of racing tile placement game designed by the one and only Uwe Rosenberg. It's called Fairy Trails. This game...
Fairy Trails.
Yes, it is a very tiny game. It has these little tiles, and you kind of are building out Carcassonne style. Oops, hit my microphone. You're building out a route Carcassonne style. And so like the tiles have these, there's 2 colors, right? So you're either playing pink or you're playing yellow. There's no theme, by the way. We're just going to skip over that. And it's just straight up tile laying where there's these little, every single tile can connect to another just the way that it does in Carcassonne, where you're like building a route, and you're building competing routes where it's like if you're pink, then you want to connect pink to pink, and you want to also close off these roads Carcassonne style, so that when you close it off, you drop these little glass beads that you have on these houses along the way. So you're trying to lay down as many glass beads as you can, because it's basically a race to get rid of your beads before the other person. So does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it
so
does.
and because the thing is that you can kind of like screw with your opponent, because the way that is very similar to in Carcassonne, where you can, like take, how in Carcassonne you can like kind of play the brutal way where you like take over people's stuff and make their route, mess with their routes and stuff. So this is like similar to that, where it's like the routes, if you're thinking like, oh man, like I'm playing against Zach and like he's looking like he's about to complete that and he's going to put down like 4 different houses, and it's like, oh, I have a tile that can make his branch off, and then he's going to have to contend with more branches so that he has to close it off, not on this next turn. He has to take another turn. And so you can like kind of do that. Anyway, I really like it. I mean, it's a very simple, like dead simple game, but it's super tiny. You could take it on a trip, you can go on vacation and it'll fit in your pocket. It's that small. And it's super easy to play. And it also has a solo mode, which I've played, which is like, it's very, the only challenge about it in terms of like logistics is that it has the bandito problem, where like you have these little tiles and all of a sudden like you're like, oh man, I am running out of space on the table because I've put down so many cards. But other than that, like it's so just, you could take it with you, throw it in your bag.
That's so cute. Like I love that small footprint, or sorry, small box but large footprint is always funny when you're like, wow.
Yeah, and it's not like listen, it's not going to be it's underrated, not because I think it's like going to blow your mind that you're playing Fairy Trails because you've never played anything like it. I think it's underrated because when you compare it to, okay, for example, I kind of took a peek at BGG and saw that Tangram City, also by Uwe Rosenberg, also, when he's like iterating on polyominoes and all this kind of thing. Yeah. I like Tangram City. I think it's great, but there's like no interaction between people. And what I really like about Fairy Trails is that you have this teeny tiny box where actually, unlike a lot of other Uwe Rosenberg games, you can actually have interaction with the other person. I mean, in theory, like you could, I guess, be laying down the tiles and just be doing your own thing and not care, what your opponent is doing. But it is a race, so you kind of want to be like, I don't know, he's looking like he's about to close up that route over there. I better sneak my little butt in there and make that a little longer. You know what I mean? And so I kind of like that, unlike a lot of his other games, you have a little bit more of that, like, I don't want to say chess. It's not like that. But, there is some some strategizing or maybe more tactical approach. Yeah, so I don't know. That's what I think. Underrated.
Fairy Trails. That's great. Yeah, and I think this is very endemic of two things that BGG rankings really miss or don't appreciate. One, 2020. This came out in 2020, so that is probably a major reason. I have a game that I was looking at that was like, oh, that's the only reason I think this game didn't take off. And also micro games. Like I would consider this a small box, like really small games. The Button Shies, like they never get this type of ranking credit.
Right.
So I think that's really cool. Yeah, I love that. And also thematically, it's an enchanted forest, elves and gnomes, which I do think is having a spotlight in the last 5 years too, speaking of our state of mind.
I mean, I could be wrong about this, but it's also published by some publisher called Paper Plane Games, which I kind of took a brief look at their stuff, and it's like, I don't think they're really like a known... They seem pretty tiny from what I could tell. Yeah. Like I didn't recognize really their other titles, which was only a handful. So I think that also probably has something to do with it. It's not getting, a major marketing push or whatever. Yeah. And again, totally. I get it. It's like a teeny tiny game. And so maybe, it's not going to like blow your mind. But I think that when you're thinking about something quick that you can, take on vacation or take over to a friend's house or go to the pub and play, or like, we could do it at lunch while, like, when my husband and I are here together and we're just like, let's do that while we eat. It's like that type of game. And it's still thinky, like it's still going to burn your brain a little.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah. It looks great, and I think it gives me that vibes of like you said. I can see the Carcassonne in there, but I like that take that kind of like that competitive element in there, what you described, which definitely interests me, but gave me that like Suro vibes.
Yes,
but the fact
very
of like
that.
But sometimes Suro doesn't, some people get really turned off on Suro because like, oh, it's just the luck of what you draw. But, I guess you can see definitely the strategy here. And I'm saying, oh, let me kind of close that off, or like extend that before my opponent closes that off to be able to put their houses. So yeah, especially with a huge designer like that, like Uwe, like, games like this getting overlooked. Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Okay. Yeah. Never heard of this one.
That's great. The number 3 designer of all time, according to our data.
Listen, Alba said she was going to come with, hitting it from like in the depths of the ocean with her list.
Yes, so, for real.
She went 6,000 something.
6,000.
The thing is, like, when you're on BGG though, like you start going through those numbers and you're like, man, there's so many games in this world that you can be, 1,000, like there's still a lot of bangers up in it. That, like, that's
correct.
That
exactly.
Still feels like almost the shallow end, of the pool. Yeah. Like, anyway.
So that's why
I didn't go that deep. I didn't go that deep. So I'm in the thousands here.
Let's hear it.
My game is 1479 on BGG, and we're going to stay with this abstract theme-ish type game. This is a 2019 design from designer Jamie Shadak and Manolis Vranas, or is it say Jaime? I'm not sure, but this is from publisher Smirk and Laughter Games. This is one of my favorite abstracts. This is Shobu. So Shobu is such a great classic game, and what I love about Shobu, and I think it's underrated as well, because it just, people like look at it and think, oh, it's just it's a good table presence piece, but have either of you played this one?
No, but I've seen the box.
I have not. It looks
great. So for those that don't know, Shobu is a abstract game. Think checkers, chess kind of looking type thing. We have these 4 mini boards, and the 4 boards are in 2 different colors. So you have a dark colored wood and you have a light colored wood. And there's a piece of rope, and that rope is set in the center of the table, and you put a dark and light board on your side and a dark and a light board on your opponent's side. This is a strictly 2-player game. And on each board, you're going to place a set number of stones. So you're going to have 4 stones on the closest side on one end of the board, and another 4 stones of your opponent's on the opposing side of the board. And it's on each board. Okay, so it's look like you have 4 mini checkers boards or 4 mini chess boards on the table. And on your turn, you're going to do 2 things. You're going to do a passive action and an aggressive action. So the passive action has to be done on one of the boards on your side of, you choose whichever color, whether you want to make the move on the dark board or the light colored board, and you're going to make the move with your specific stone which is the tokens that you're moving it, and you're going to move it up to 2 spaces in any direction, orthogonally up and down, left and right, or diagonally up to 2 spaces, and that stone cannot orthogonally. There you go. And there you go. Going back to the board game terms, right? And it cannot push anything or jump over anything, so it's a passive move. And then what you're going to do is after you make your passive move on one of those boards, then you're going to make an aggressive move, and it has to be done on the opposite color board on either side of the table. And that stone is going to move. You can move any one of your matching stones in that same direction that you moved the passive move. And that stone can now push one of your opponent's stones while it's moving. The one thing is it cannot push 2 stones. It's not strong enough to push 2 stones. So you can only move one of your opponent's stones. And the idea is the winner is once you're able to eliminate all of your opponent's 4 stones from any one of the 4 boards on the table. Very thinky, very good abstract game. This is something that, like, if you have I have kids, so I can't leave this out, but if you wanted to like leave it on a coffee table, and when you have family over, have friends over, and it's something that you can quickly play when you have, friends, you're having some cocktails, some hors d'oeuvres, or whatever the case may be. It's just a fun little game. I love it. When I was introduced to this, I was like, I just wanted to play more and more of it. And this one you can teach to non-gamers. The box isn't super, small where you can just carry it with you, but honestly, you can take the pieces of this game and pack it into like a little bag. I could put it in my wife's purse if she wanted to. We could just take it to like a pub. We can take it to a coffee shop, and we can set it up, and it's a very small footprint on the table. I love this game. It plays in about 20 minutes, so you could play it over and over. But it is thinky. It does it's fun. It's simple, but I feel it's crunchy enough to want to play over and over again.
It has a very like classic, classy look to it.
Yeah, it does look classy. Yeah,
like it's been around for. It has the look of like I've been around for centuries.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Is it on? It might be on Board Game Arena, because I think maybe we did mess around with this one time, or maybe Sovereignty back in the day. I feel like you showed me this. Now that when you started explaining it, I'm like, maybe we messed around with this like years ago. But looks cool. I love the stones. I think it's great. That's a great pick at, let's say its rank again, 1479 is what it says right now in BGG. But wow, you did well there, my friend. Mine is. Oh,
sorry. Yeah. Can I make a comment?
Go for it. Yeah. Make a comment, of course.
The pieces look very enticing, like the stones, and like the wood and surfaces, and I don't know. There's just something very like appealing about that.
For sure, I think that's like eye catching.
Yeah, definitely. And this is something you can actually make this game if you wanted to, but why? When everything is crafted very well on top of that too. So
cool.
That's cool.
I got to check this one out.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like based on anything from back in the day, but it says it evokes the feeling of Go or chess, but I wonder if it's just fully designed in 2020. That's awesome. Okay, mine is 1880 is the overall rank. So it's old, or it's climbed up for being a newer game. This is a 2024 game, okay, designed by French designers Charles Chavalet and Laurent Escoffier, pardon my French, artist Xavier Gunify-Doran. Oh my gosh, I'm butchering it here. I don't want to say it. And the publisher is Gigamic, is what they are. I don't know how else you might say that. Gigamic. For the US. Gigamic, yeah. This game is what I call Viking Calico, and that is Loot, L-O-O-T. And they have another name. Oh yeah, it has another name in Europe. They call it Neuland. Newland.
Yes.
And I think that's a much better name, to be honest. But that's what in the US we call it, or North America we call it Loot. This is one of those games where, and 1880 is not too bad. Obviously, it's very high, and also when there's 176,000 entries on Board Game Geek, that's a really high percentage, and it's still pretty new. But usually after about 2 years, games like settle into like the range that they're going to be in, and I just think that this game should be higher. Now, it did get the note, or like the nod, from the Kennerspiel last year. In 2025, it was nominated for Kennerspiel, and we all know that I'm very much a Kennerspiel fan. I love like every single Kennerspiel I've played, I've loved. But how this game works is it reminds me a lot of like a Calico, and it reminds me a lot of like a Blue Lagoon, the Knizia, root builder. So we got another kind of network and root building here too. And what you do is you're up to 4 players, and I love it because it scales really well. If you're playing 2 players, you use 2 of these like modular boards. If you're playing with 3, you use 3. If you're playing with 4, you use 4. So for each player that plays, you have to add an additional like little hex board to make the board bigger. And you just place a Viking down, a very Blue Lagoon like, and you're going to grab whatever that resource is there. And there are these buildings that have different requirements. If you place next to a house, you just claim a house. If you surround, if you get at least 4 of your Vikings from your clan touching a castle, you claim a castle. And if you connect 2 towers, you get 1 of each of the towers, which is really awesome. And then you place them on your personal player board. So it does have that little bit of multiplayer solitaire like player board in front of you on your personal board, but the big thing is there's a common board that everyone is playing to, and there's a lot of tight interaction. It's a very stressful game to be like, I really need that piece of gold. If I don't get that gold, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to score any points, because the game comes down to a very clever scoring mechanism we got to shout out Punchboard, our boy Kenan. He when he wrote this up on Instagram, he said it has the Concordia scoring, which it does. Ooh. It has build your, see, Jazz's eyes just lit up right there. It has the Concordia scoring. It basically just stole that completely. Once you surround it, kind of like a Calico or like a Habitats, once you get the correct things that these objectives want, it flips over and becomes a scoring multiplier. Okay, so then now every tower that already is normally worth 2, now all my towers are worth 4. So then that gives me even more incentive to go for the towers. It is really tight. It is an optimization puzzle. It's got the hex building puzzly thing that you want. It's got the interactive part in the middle that you want. It's got a lot of scoring. It plays in like 30 to 40 minutes. What does it say? 35 minutes. Wow, right on there. That's exactly what it is. And it's got an incredible implementation on Board Game Arena. So much so that I went out and bought that, which we'll talk about later in this episode. I bought it from playing it on BGA. I think it's a great, great game. I think more people need to talk about it. It's that perfect medium weight loot from 2024, ranked 1,880.
Reggie, you sold me already with the Concordia scoring.
That's all you needed. Wait, I'll invite you on BGG. It's good. Or BGA, we'll play turn-based.
Yes,
it's good.
please do.
It is good. It's very stressful. I find it to be a very stressful game. Like, I think it's very good, but I'm always like, oh my God. Oh, especially when you get it with more than, with like 3 players, because it adds that extra wrinkle of like, oh no, now I have to wait 2 turns before I find out if I can actually get to the thing that I need. And then I'm just like sweating.
Yes, that's a really good point. I want to point out one thing that you mentioned. There's, in like Blue Lagoon, you have to play off of your own Viking clan only. In this game, you can play as long as you're touching any Viking. Doesn't have to be just your color. So there's a lot of sweaty, like, I am not going to place another Viking because that's going to allow them to place next to that house that they want to do. And you're this war of attrition, like game of chicken that goes on forever. It is super stressful, very much like Calico. I think it's that. If you like that Calico stress, you will like this stress, in my opinion.
Cool. Yeah. We love stress.
Awesome. We love stress. All right. Well, we're back to the top there. We only brought 2 each. We're already going to be well over here. So let's go to our second game.
Well, speaking of stress, in my game, you are a little pirate that has been stealing, and now you've been thrown in jail. And that is stressful. And actually, I'm just kidding. This is not a stressful game at all. I picked another very light game, and it is called Cartagena Escape Diaries. So this is like a little, I don't want to say it's a cheat, because it is over 1,000. However, there have been various iterations of this game, and I want to explain why I feel like this one is underrated, but I'm going to start off by saying the original Cartagena, so this is by Leo Colavini, It was designed. Sorry, I'm trying to reach my notes here so I can get all the stats right because I got to do my numbers right for Mr. Reggie, Roland Reggie.
You gotta have the stats here.
Yeah. So the original Cartagena was designed, came out in 2000, and that one is ranked 1,578. Now there have been four total, I believe, iterations on this, including the most recent one, which is the one that I have, and that is Cartagena Escape Diaries that came out in 2023, and that one is ranked 11,875. Has basically almost no ratings on it. I don't know why this one didn't make it out into the world very much, but it didn't.
Interesting.
And the reason that I think it's pretty underrated is that I went back through all the different reissues and re-implementations of Cartagena, and they just haven't had any activity on BGG. There's almost nobody making reviews and talking about them on videos for at least 5 or 6 years. I found one video maybe from what was it, 2 years ago or so. It was something like that, but oh no, there was one video from 2 months ago on one of the pages, but this is out of a total of 4 different versions of this. And I was like, people just aren't talking about this game anymore. And I think it's just simply because it's an older game. It just hasn't gotten a lot of shine at this stage. It's fallen out of favor. There's loads of games that come out now. And so why do I think this is a good one? Let me tell you what it is. First of all, Cartagena is a racing game. You are pirates. You have been locked away in prison. You're on a remote island, and you guys have built a secret tunnel to escape, but you gotta race to the boat to get away. And only the person who gets 6 pirates to the boat first will win. They will sail away, and they will leave everybody back on the island. The way that it works...
Brutal.
I know, brutal. You're racing. You're just see you later, suckers. And so the way that it works is that there's a modular board that's made with these different tiles. And on the different tiles, you're going to see little symbols. They're very pirate themed things, like a pirate's hat or a sword or a skull, I think is one of them. Anyway, there's these symbols. Now, on your turn, you can do one of 2 things. It works. Sorry, let me back up. On your turn, you get 3 actions, and you can split up these actions doing any of these 2 things. You can do one of them, both of them, a combination of them, but you get 3 opportunities, right, to choose how you want to do it. So what you can do is you can move a pirate, and to move one of your 6 pirates, you play down these cards that you dealt at the very beginning of the game, and the cards just simply have a symbol on them. And so to move your pirate, you put down a card, and wherever the symbol matches on the board, wherever the next, let's say you played a card with a hat, and you're okay, you can move that pirate to the next hat, the closest hat to them. So that's how far they can move ahead. Your second option is that you can move backwards. And by moving backwards, you have to go to the nearest space that already has a pirate occupying on it. And that's how many cards you can draw. There can only be a maximum of 3 pirates on a tile. So that means that you can move back to a tile with 1 pirate, or if there's 2 pirates. And that means if there's 1 pirate, you draw 1 card. If there's 2 pirates already there, you draw 2 cards. So that's how you are refilling your hand that you're using to play down to move. And that's it. You're just kind of back and forth trying to figure out how to shoot ahead and back up, but you can't get too far because otherwise you're going to run out of cards. So you kind of have to return to the pack a little bit to be okay, I need to draw more cards so I can shoot ahead again. And that's the entire game, but it's just fun. It's silly. It's super easy. Again, this is one of those games that I feel it's dead simple to teach somebody. I've taught this to my family back home when we're together, and they're erstwhile gamers. They don't game on a regular basis at all. They pretty much only game when I'm around. So they were able to learn it, and we had a great time. We were just laughing, and then the thing with this, the most recent printing that I have, so every single it's very pretty.
Yeah, I like the way it looks.
Every single iteration has had variants, but I believe I kind of went on BGG to find out why this one is considered different from any of the earlier versions. I think it's just that they added a couple of variants into this one that didn't already exist in prior versions. So one of them is like there's a captain. You can make one of your meeples a captain, and you get some special powers. And then the other one, which seems a little more interesting, is like they add. We haven't played with that yet, actually, but there's like rafts that you can do, so it kind of adds an extra wrinkle of like there's spaces on these rafts that you can try to get to, but then there's also tokens that are kind of they're making holes in the raft, so they might sink before you get there. So
I can see that actually on the pictures.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I forgot to like teach this. We talked about it last time we were all together. We were like, we should do that, and then we forgot. But anyway, I think that like this box, for how simple everything is in it, I love it because it has that classic feel. Also, racing games with like people who don't play games are always really fun because everybody can just get into that. And then on top of it, like in that little box, there's like kind of enough to keep you going for a little while. I mean, it's again, similarly to Fairy Trails, it's not the kind of game that's going to be like, you know, you're not going to go home from game night and be thinking about the strategy of this game, but you are going to have a great time. Like it's party adjacent, let's say. It's not, there's not enough people, there's not enough players that you can do it for like actually a party, that you can consider it a party game. But I feel like in that type of scenario of like, I'm here with my family, it's Christmas time, we could be doing a puzzle, but actually maybe we're going to do cartagena, you know what I mean? Or I don't know, maybe you had some friends over and you guys like, they're not big gamers, but they're like, all right, I'll give it a try. Let's see. You know, it's that kind of vibe.
That's cool.
Very welcoming.
I think this would really go over well with my like lighter groups. I'm putting this on my list. There's a couple things that point out to me. It does make me think of like Ink and Gold, kind of where you're like all trying to race.
I can see that. Yep.
Very much.
And then I like the new, you were right, there's been 4 versions. The original was Cartagena in 2000. Then they did a re-implementation in 2017. Then Cartagena 2, The Pirate's Nest. Oh no, that was 06 before that. And then this one in 2023. But what's so interesting is I was looking up the designer. I have never played one of Leo Colovini's games, but I have so many on my like want to play list, including really? The Kazuka, which is animal themed, which I think is really cute, like or family deduction game, and the sea turtle racing game called Astralis. Which is really cool.
That one's beautiful.
That. Yes, it's so beautiful.
Oh, that's him.
I actually won Australis. Okay, I really want. So Australis came out, I think, last year, and I really wanted it. And I went to Geekway to the West last spring, which, by the way, I'm going there again this year. So anybody going to Geekway, shout out, meet up.
Wow. Jay Stagg, hang out with Jamie Stagmeyer, our close personal friend.
But I entered into the Play to Win library that they have, and I was like, oh, I really want to win Australis because it just seemed like I already loved Cartagena, and I was like, I feel like it has a similar vibe and it's pretty and welcoming. Anyway, I had to leave before they got to do the raffle, but my friend Laura, shout out Laura Dunn, Mrs. Obsessed with Board Games, and she was like, you won Australis. So
nice.
But I had already left, so she has it at her house. So one in this year, I will come pick it up and let you know how
own it, but you have not had it physical
No, because I had to leave, and she lives in St. Louis, and she was at the Play to Win raffle, and she was like texting me, she's like, you just won it, I'm gonna go get it for you.
That's awesome. Wow. And he also did, way back in the day, he did Vabank. I just wanted to throw that out there too.
That's right.
Really good things because with Bruno Faiduti. So
yes, I have not played Vabank, but I know Tom Vassell loves it.
Oh yeah, that's where I've heard about it. Yeah, Tom Vassell talks about it. And sorry, one other thing I wanted to point out with it, it did the anthropomorphic pirates
yes, it does.
What's my game? Libertalia. It's like animal pirates.
Yes, it is.
And Pretzel Games is kind of a good publisher too. I have Challengers Beach Cup, the sequel to Challengers. Did they do that too? Was done by Pretzel Games. Yeah, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on Pretzel Games. Great pick. That's a cool one. I'm putting that on my list.
Yeah, big shout out to those friends who keep our our hobby going for us. Right, they get our games. Right. They keep the collection going and growing. Yeah, that one looks interesting. So, again, mine are not as deep as Alba's list with these 11,000 ranked, but this one is
that's actually underrated. She really killed it with the prompt.
Seriously underrated. So, This one is a 2015 design from Devere Games. This one is ranked at 2272, and Reg, I had to put a worker placement game on this list.
Of course, we know you. Yep.
This is from designer Diego Ibanez, and I think this might be his only design that I've seen on BGG. And this is Holmes, Sherlock, and Mycroft. And this is a worker placement set collection style game, and there's been this kind of explosion, this like bomb explosion that's kind of gone off at the House of Parliament, and you take on the role of either Sherlock Holmes or Mycroft Holmes, the brothers, and they are investigating this event that's happened. And pretty much the board starts off, it's a 2-player only like worker placement style game. I was obviously into this because I'm a huge fan of Targi. And I said, you know what, I want to do some other worker placement games. And it was like during the COVID pandemic, and I was just here at home with my wife. And I said, you know what, let me look for another 2-player game. She didn't like Target, so I like worker placement. So I picked up a copy of this. I had, online. And the game starts off with a board, and it's played over a course of a set number of days. And you start off with 3 like on the board like actions or places on the board, and those people are, of course, Dr. Watson, you have Mrs. Hudson, and the Inspector Lestrade. And you start off with 3 meeples, and on your turn, players are going to take alternating turns. You start off with a set number of investigation tokens or magnifying glasses, and there's a card row of 4 cards that pretty much you're trying to gather these in different items or investigations. Each item is a different color, but also has a different value. So whether you're trying to pick up the cigarette buds, they might be worth 5 points. And in the end of the game, it's pretty much whoever has collected the most of each specific type of item is going to score points based off of how many they've collected and versus how many their opponent has collected. So on your turn, you're going to take one of your 3 meeples and you're going to place it on one of the available actions on the board. And you can go to an action space that an opponent has already gone to, but you cannot go to an action spot that you've gone to yourself. So you're going to go to that space, you activate that action, gain those resources. Sometimes it's it allows you to trade in those tokens to take some cards from the center of the row. Some of these cards, like I said, they're going to be items. They might even be wild cards, and also they might be map portions of the map of the House of Parliament. And at the end of each round, once everybody has played their 3 workers, you're going to move on to the next day, where it's going to be a deck of cards, and you're going to draw a new person, which is a new person to investigate, to interview at this at the House of Parliament. And again, they're going to have another action, and on your turn, your workers stay where they're at. You don't retrieve them. So on your turn, you take up your worker, and now you stand up all your workers, and now you can go to another location that you have not previously gone to. So again, this is how you're gonna play this action selection. I know a lot of people who are fans of Scythe, who like that action selection of they have to strategize their actions and how they move their actions, because you can't do the same thing in multiple times. This is what I love about this game. But again, after every round, there's going to be a new card that comes out. But what's interesting is that the deck of cards, you're not going to see every card in the game. So every game is different. It's based off of what's going to be at the top of that, what's going to be in that deck as you draw over the course of the set number of days. At the end of the game, you're going to see how many cards you've collected in these specific items that you've picked up for the investigation. And let's say I picked up 4 of the cards that are worth 7 points, and my opponent only picked up 2 of those cards. All right, so I'm gonna win the 7 points, but I'm gonna subtract those 7 points minus the 2 cards they collected in that same category, and I'm gonna score 5 points. And you're gonna do this for all of the different categories based off of what you got. So if you can get that 9-point card and your opponent got none of them, and you block them from getting them, you're gonna score a full 9 points. Now the map. The portions of the map that you're collecting, the map portions, it's based off of how many you collect. So if you collect none, you're going to get -2 points or something like that. But if you collect 1, you're going to get 1 points. 2 is like a multiplier depending on how many you get. The game plays very fast. I want to say like definitely, I think it's like 20 minutes. I think BGG has it, 20 to 30 minutes. But you can get this game going right again. It's like a 1.8 weight on BGG. I honestly think it's probably less than that, but it's just a set collection game. Try and get as many cards as you can in that specific type, but also managing, okay, what is my opponent collecting? Because if they're getting all of this, I need to start getting some of those cards and to minimize the points that they're gathering. And again, the more, I think the higher the value, the value of the card determines also how many cards are in the deck as well that could potentially come out throughout the rounds. It's a fun, quick, snappy game. Again, it's managing those 3 workers. And it's the other thing that I forgot to mention is after the end of each round, you look at, other than the 3 starting locations that are already pre-printed onto the board, at any time, if there are 2 workers at the end of a day that are on a card, that card becomes exhausted because you've interviewed that person too much and they are not available for the following round. All right. So that adds that element of, sometimes you don't want that card maybe to be available for your opponent the following round, so maybe you're just going to go to it just to kind of block them out. So it's just the little intricate strategies that are, I like games that are simple but have those little intricate strategies that make the game thinky, and this one is super fun. Every time I look when I'm culling games, I'm like, do I want to cull this game? And I never do, because I remember all the times that I've played it, I've had a blast every single time.
So is the theme is just set dressing, right? Like there's not really
it's a set dressing. It's pretty much you could make
like
this
abstract,
whatever you want.
really.
It's super abstract, but pretty much you're taking on the role of one of these investigators and you're going out and investigating the different guests that are at the parliament, and each guest has a different ability that you can gain from them. So it's super fun. I would definitely recommend this to anyone who's thinking of like trying worker placement but doesn't want to get into the idea of gaining these resources. But if you understand this, it's like a next step into trying something better. So this is very great entryway. Reg, I might even say this might be a grandma worker placement game for you, Reg.
Yeah, wow, you're putting it on grandma status. Wow, that's good. I am intrigued by this, and I'm even with the mechanics. Like, I know the queen. Obviously, when you say 2-player, you say 25 minutes, you say 1.8 weight. I'm like, and she loves viticulture. I'm like, wait, this is it. But it's so fun. Speaking of themes, we watched a lot of shows on our like maternity paternity leave. We were catching up, and the new show dropped in the last few months called Young Sherlock.
Yes.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. It's getting some good ratings, and I'm like, this looks interesting. I want to watch this. I loved those Robert Downey Jr. ones, like 08 or whatever. And she's like, I could not care less about Sherlock Holmes. You can watch it on your own. I'm like, no.
Oh, no.
But I put this on my want to playlist. You got both of those. The last 2 you guys just said, I'm going to play this. And I think I'll wager. Yeah. What you're saying,
I love Sherlock Holmes. I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan. And I have seen this game kicking around and just over the years, multiple situations kind of rising and falling to my attention where I'm just like, oh, should I pick it up? And then I always kind of watch some videos and think, I don't know, should I? But it's like I'm finally hearing someone that I actually know who's finally talking about it, because I feel like every other time I've heard about it, I've found only old videos, and I'm like, I don't know, I can't tell if this is for me. But this, you've revamped my interest again, Jazz. So it's back on my radar, and now I'm going to keep an eye out.
Awesome. And there was rumors that I heard from DeVere, because I went to them at a convention, and I said, I love Holmes, and I was wondering, is this ever getting like a reprint? It's going to be available. Mm-hmm. They said that there was rumors that there was going to be an expansion added to this, almost like a little small box expansion. And
that's cool.
I don't know what happened to it, but yeah, I haven't heard anything else other than that one convention, because I got super excited for that. But yeah, I guess it got, just got X'd off.
I mean, like a lot of DeVere, like the production looks really nice.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, I actually really like the art, and I got to say, I've never heard of this game. You guys are, I love the Spanish name, Holmes, Sherlock contra Moriarty. That's it. I love it. That's great. It's on my list, and I do, I love the production. I love the magnifying glass aesthetic. I don't know what that is. I don't know why, but I just love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My last pick, our last one for the main topic. We're doing great. We're being nice and quippy. This might be a 2-parter for you guys. You might have to listen to this in 2 days, and that's great. You listen to the Family Feud and do that. Okay. We got one I'm actually really passionate about, and I've been playing a lot lately. And it's kind of the trickiest because it's really close to 1,000. So I'm nowhere near as cool as Alba with the 11,000 game that I actually want to play. So good for you. This is 2019, and its rank overall is 1,085. So it's pretty close up there. But again, still, in the grand scheme of things, there's so many great games and people know about them. This is one of those Prospero Hall designed games, like Brian Kirk. I love Pan Am. I love Horrified. Artist is Roger Castell, published by Ravensburger, and this is Jaws.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yes.
And when I looked at all the games in BG Stats, I was like, of all the games that this is the one where I truly think this is a fantastic game. And so 1,080 is criminal. Now, to be fair, I just noticed this just now. It is ranked 271 in thematic, which is pretty high. So that is actually in the thematic area. But nobody clicks that. Nobody's clicking that. I don't even know thematic was a category, so nobody clicks that. Okay.
I got to tell you, before you describe it, I'm actually shocked that it's even that high. Like I feel like you're the only person I know who ever talks about this game, so I'm actually surprised it's at 1,081.
Good. Okay, so I am gonna evangelize this. I will say I have to give a shout out again. I think I've shouted him out a couple episodes ago. The 101 board games you must play before you die by the amazing Jared. I forget his last name, but
Jared Carmichael.
Games. Yes, Jared Carmichael. Thank you. 3-minute board games on YouTube. He does all the quick overviews of a board game in 3 minutes. He wrote a book and he did not make the name. He said the publisher forced him to make that name. I know it's cheesy, but he put all these games and he categorized them in such a good way. And he put Jaws in there. I'm like, there is no way that a Jaws board game is good, bro. And I looked into it. And I was like, okay. And it was in the back of my mind. And I was just perusing my local game store as one does. And it was in the used board games for $15. And so I got this game for $15. And it is so cool because what it is obviously it's thematically off of the Steven Spielberg movie. But it is a 2 to 4 player game where it is one versus many is what they call it. I wonder what the BGG actually calls it. It's just like a team-based game, but one team is one person and the other team is up to 3 people. And if you play the perfect way, which is 4 people, you are playing the 3 characters from the movie. So that is Brody, Hooper, and Quint to hunt down the shark. And one person is playing as a shark and doing hidden movement, which hidden movement did come up on mechanisms that people don't like. I understand that that's something that people haven't played. This is the only hidden movement I've played. And what I really like about it, especially is that, one quick thing about the rules with players. It is perfect at 4 players. If you play it at 3, one person or both the human people have to manage the 3rd character. So that is definitely a downside for it. I'm sure that's a hindrance. To optimally play this game, you need 4 people. Mm-hmm. It's in 2 phases. That's my favorite part. There's an island phase. And so the shark is going around Amity Island and he is trying to just pick off swimmers, and swimmers just populate around the map, and you're moving around very much Horrified or Pandemic. You have action points. You're moving around and you're trying to save these swimmers. I always play as the cop. I forget which one he is. Any movie fans? Do you remember which one's?
I think it's Brody.
Brody. I think it's Brody. Yeah. I play Brody because his special token is the binoculars, and anybody who has binoculars, I have to play as the bird watcher here. And what he can do is he can shut down a beach. He's just like, I'm going to shut down a beach, right? Hooper's going around and he can lay down the barrels, and Quint can use a harpoon gun or a tracker or whatever like that. So they're all very asymmetric with the cooperative players. And the whole time the shark is marking down their movements in a notepad. They have to do their actions and mark where they are in a notepad where the other 3 players don't know. And you have to kind of discuss it without, giving it away too much, but the shark goes first. So the shark doesn't have to communicate with anyone. And then the shark says, hey, by the way, these 4 people died. and it's like, okay, these 4 swimmers were chomped up. And now we're like, okay, let's try to pinpoint where he's at. Let's track him down. I'm going to cut him off over here. I'm going to come bring you a barrel. And then you throw that barrel in the thing. And if you tag the shark a few times, you end the phase. Or if the shark just like eats the most people, if they have a certain number of turns, right? What I love about that first phase is if the players do well, if they track the shark down quickly, we go to phase 2, the orca phase, quicker. And when you flip over the board, it switches to the orca, which is the boat. Depending on how well the players did, determines how many pieces of equipment they have. So if you beat the shark or found him really quickly, you get a lot more equipment to start the round. If you took a long time to find the shark, you have less equipment. So based on how well you do in phase 1 means what you start with in phase 2. So in the orca phase, this is almost like I'd almost call it like a rock, paper, scissors type event where there are 3 locations that the shark is going to get to choose. It's whack-a-mole. That's what it is. It's whack-a-mole. So the shark can choose one of 3 locations on the ship to attack, and the 3 people have to try to get there and be prepared with their weapons. We're going to say something, Alba?
No, I'm just looking at the pictures. I'm listening.
Yeah, it's cool. So yeah, it's and that's the phase 2, and you play that, and if you kill the shark, you win. If the shark destroys the entire ship or eats all the players, then they win. And what's crazy is once the boat starts falling apart, it takes more movement points to move around. There's some dice that go on. So it's really cool because it's 2 separate phases that feel distinct. Hidden movement with like cooperative movement for the cooperative players. And then in the second one, it's still hidden movement, but it's also kind of like a whack-a-mole, use your abilities and roll some dice to try to hit the shark. It's just cinematic. It's just great. I mean, obviously it is. It's literally a movie theme, but I just think more people should be talking about Jaws because it is a fun little game. And I've played it 5 times now. I have not played the shark myself yet. Actually, I really love hunting down the shark with my friends, but I do want to play the shark here's the next time I play.
Is this something that you played with like gamer people or played with, like who's capable of playing this?
Great questions. Yeah. So BGG's complexity says like 2.18. So we all play. Not only did I play this for the first time, all 4 of us, we also were like, I'd say half of us were gamers, and my wife played the shark, the queen, who's played a lot of games, but she's like, she doesn't like cooperating. So I'm like, this is a great game for you have that one friend who doesn't like to do co-op. Let them be the one who gets to be the shark and play by themselves. And all of us who like to work together will work together against that person. So that's a really cool thing of it. Yeah. And she liked it a lot. She made some big mistakes in phase 1. We found her really soon. And so like in like 2 or 3 turns. So then we had a lot of gear in phase 2, but she really put up a good fight. My friends borrowed the game for they played like 3 times without me and said it was a totally different experience in those games where the shark was like swimming around the island forever, not being found, which meant that they started phase 2 a lot tougher and just picking off swimmers left and right. So it's awesome. I just think, and I'm not even really tied to the movie at all, to be completely honest. So I just think for a board game that can be played with non-gamers, that has a nice cinematic feel, it doesn't take too long, it's not too taxing on the brain. I think that's Jaws. I think it takes a little bit. Like I wouldn't play this with grandma, but I would say this is a gateway level game if you have at least one person who knows it.
Yeah, I've heard so many good things about this. Listen, Prospero Hall, Pan Am, I've heard so many good things. This one specifically, I've heard a lot of good things about. And, I know my dad is a huge fan of Jaws. And I remember watching Jaws, growing up. and he's like, you've got to watch this. This is like, this is what horror movies were made for. And I was like, and as a kid, like, I loved it, but I never got a chance to play this one. But everything that I know that they've put out, like, I know the production quality isn't going to wow you with a lot of things, but it's still not bad production for a board game, right? But a lot of these
usually very cheap, they're
very affordable. Yeah, very affordable. Like even the Jaws, the Back to the Future game, I've only heard good things about them all. Of course, you have the Horrifies and everything. But yeah, I played Pan Am. I loved it. But this is one I've got to check out. My buddy Dave in my game group, I'm almost sure he has everything from the Prospero Hall. So I'm gonna definitely be looking to get this one played.
And it's funny you mentioned your dad. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, you go first.
I was just gonna say, funny you mentioned your dad, because I remember seeing some YouTube channel, I wish I could remember, but they were like, games to play with your dad for Father's Day. And this was like the first one. This is well before I'd played this game. I was like, there's a Jaws board game. That must be trash. And I think that's truly the assumption.
No, I think this would be perfect because it's like, listen, it's my dad and I have my two brothers, so like the four of us could play this, and I would make my dad the shark, and then we would just I'm definitely gonna borrow this game.
Yeah, and it's cheap. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm ashamed to say that this is on my shelf of shame. And
you do have, you have it.
I have it, and I picked it up like, I don't even remember, a long time ago. It was very, very, very cheap at the time. And I had watched a video and I was like, oh, this looks really fun. But this is one of those purchases that I made where I was like, I don't actually have the people to play this, so it's been sitting there for so long. But now that I know that you're such a fan, then I feel like we're gonna have to play it when I'm out in Portland next.
That's so true. I should just bring it.
Yeah, bring it. And then the other thing too about it, I was gonna say again, I didn't realize like how many people were such super fans of this game. I gotta tell everyone, the whole time you've been talking, I've been like looking on BGG at the pictures. There's so many cool 3D printed versions. Like, people made all these cool pieces and boats and
awesome.
the shark and this. Like, man, there's a lot of love for this game. You're right, Reggie. The people want Jaws.
They want Jaws in 2026. Yeah, that's awesome. I forgot about that. Yeah, I think we're having probably a 4-player game night in sometime in the summer or something. So I will bring that. Yeah. Gosh, it's so cool. Yeah, that's great. And I can't relate. I'm sorry. I've never bought a game not having the game group. Sorry, can't relate. Nope, never experienced an aspirational purchase. You're on your own there.
Yeah, I know.
Awesome. Okay, we're doing great. Let's get to, I have a couple honorable mentions I'll do real quick. If you guys had any, you can, but I do want to throw out another 2020, which is Durian, which I've talked about, the only deduction game that I really like. And I just thought it wasn't enough for a big thing, but I do want to shout it out because it is such a cool little game, and I feel like nobody knows about it. And I think it's because of 2020 is when it came out and being an Oink game. And also Reforest, which I've been really enjoying, again, solo in person and on Board Game Arena. It has like a new version coming. We saw that on like Tanuki Games. And yeah, that's that Pacific Northwest themed like flora, fauna, tableau builder that is just gorgeous. And so shout out to that company because it's really cool looking game and really relaxing and thinky to play at the same time.
So cool.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily have any worker placement games, but I did look at 2 games on my shelf that I considered, but I just haven't played them in a while. One was Wreck Raiders from Kids Table Board Gaming. It's another worker placement game that I enjoy. I'm waiting for my daughter to really,
be of age for that. Yeah.
I think she's getting there. She's on the close. But the other one that she has played and we do enjoy is Hanga from Haba Games, which is a hand management worker placement style game. But like the cards that you play, they have hands on them, and they're points of like 4 different sections on the boards, and the number of hands depend on either how many things you can activate in that location or how many resources you grab. But Hanga, which is the saber-toothed tiger that sits in the center of the board, you pretty much want to make sure that you pay homage to him and give him the pets that he wants, or he's going to come onto your board and eat your resources. So it's just like a fun little silly quirky like game.
Haba game. Is that a Haba game?
It's a Haba Games. Yeah, but I want to tell you, it's such an underrated. It's like this one was at $39.27, and I'm looking at it on BGG. But yeah, it's a fun little game. This is another one I won't get rid of my collection because I've played this one just me and my wife, and we've had a fun time. So.
Yeah. My actual brothers, the brothers Murph, love that game. They love that game. And they've talked about it. We're very much, we look alike. And it's on my short list for Phoebe when she grows up because that is like the perfect like family game that also gamers can enjoy. I
would agree.
Yeah.
Love Haba.
Yep. All right. Well, Alba, we're going to go into En La Mesa. We're going to let our guests start. We've each got one game here, and I'll go next, and we'll have Jazz close it out. And after that,
I'm a little nervous to talk about this because I've only gotten to play this one time, and that's why it's my En La Mesa. I
all
go to
good.
this, but you guys like really know this game, so you have to fill in any blanks of what I missed.
We got you.
But so I have a Monday night game group that I meet up with. Shout out to Zach. He's not my husband, Zach. Oops, sorry, I just banged my microphone, gesticulating wildly. Not my husband, Zach, but a friend of mine, Zach, who hosts Monday night games, and this past Monday we played. He taught me Star Wars deck building game, and I really liked it. I mean, it's very like, if you've never played, to me it felt like a baby version, as in like a junior version of like some bigger deck building games. It's like everything is streamlined down to just, I take a turn, you take a turn. I take a turn, you take a turn. You're not like doing, special powers attacks in between. And at least not in the base decks that we were playing. I don't know if that's something that you can do later, but the way that, how would you describe the way that it works is like you have this kind of market in the middle. You got to each get a hand of cards, and you're each playing one of the factions. So I was playing the Rebels, and he was playing the Empire. And you basically are just trying to race to like attack the other person's ships, and I think it's like take down 4.
The planets. So ships can come up, but then you have your planet. Is it planets?
Oh yeah,
it's
it's planets. You're right.
Yeah,
it's
they're like your
planets.
little planets that you
home
have.
Planets. Yeah,
your home planet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You have home planets. So we each have like a little deck of cards that are our home planets. And like you're using your hand, which when you start out, you both have kind of crap hands that are like the hands that are the set that you start with as Rebels versus like Empire or whatever. And it's like, you've got, what do you have? You like troopers and I don't know.
Very basics.
Like,
Basic hand. Yep.
And then as you're going, you have a choice of like buying stuff from the market or just dealing attacks directly using the cards that you have. And each card has like it could have a combination of these things, but it could have something where it's like worth a certain amount of attack, like a trooper, might be a 1 attack, or it might have a coin, meaning that you have 1 coin available that from them, or they might have a power to move the force towards you or away, or maybe your opponent gets to move the force with their cards. So you have like this little tracker that's keeping track of the force, and really all the force really is doing is giving you extra powers. Like if it's on your side, it might activate extra stuff on some of the cards that you have. And
by on your side, you mean when the force is with you.
Yes, you're right. Sorry. Yes, that's right. When the force is on your side, as famously said.
When the midichlorians are streaming within you, yes.
Yes, exactly. So when the force is with you, you might have extra powers that are activated on your cards. And anyway, so that's really it. It's just kind of tug of war. Like actually, I don't know if tug of war really on the force thing, but the rest of it is like you're just looking at your cards and being like, how quickly can I take down his planets or their planets? And I think it's like the first of 4 planets wins. I don't know if there's other win conditions.
So it's 3 bases, and that's why I looked it up. Is they're called the bases, and when you destroy a third, you win. And the normal way to play, which might not be the first time you play, I don't know if Zach taught you like the starter variant or the like official rules. The official rules is you have 10 whole bases. Every time one dies, you get to look through and pick your second one.
Yeah,
did you get to do that?
Yeah,
that's just the standard fare. Yeah,
we did that.
Awesome.
So I thought it was really great. I mean, I liked it because it seemed, again, like one of these kind of games where I could actually just play it in the evening after my kid's gone to bed. Like, it's not like a gigantic, huge game where you're going to be like, okay, let's buckle down and like get this done. You know what I mean? I feel like I want to say that it took us maybe 20-ish minutes to play. I don't know. Awesome. What do you think?
A couple things I'll just add to it is one, which I have not played this yet, and I really want to. I have the Clone Wars edition, which is a standalone expansion, as they call them, an expandalone.
Oh, I didn't realize it was standalone. Cool.
Yeah, so you can play that on its own if you're a prequel millennial like myself, or and then you can throw that in the box. So I have all those cards in here. I have not played that yet. I also printed out from BGG. I'm showing my friends here. There's a fan-made solo mode called the Leaders.
No way, Reggie.
Okay, now I definitely.
It's really, really cool. I printed it out, laminated it. I got it set up and got busy with baby at some point very recently. Literally in the last month, I couldn't get it to table, but I'm going to be playing that soon. And the things I just wanted to say is I did mention this in my 10 games like Magic the Gathering. It's like a 2-year-old video now at this point, but on my YouTube channel. And I talked about it because deck builders in general, but this one is very head-to-head, and it's really cool because it's very and you're getting into Magic right now. You kind of are learning about this, Alba, so you know this. But they're very archetypal, where the Empire is a control deck, really, where it's building up, and the Rebels are like a really fast burn deck. They're trying to win quicker. If it gets too long, those capital ships or whatever they were called, the Empire gets so powerful as the game goes on. And
it's funny you say. Well, sorry. No, I just want to before you move to the second part. I just want to say it's funny you say that because I was going to say this, and then I felt embarrassed because I'm so new to Magic that I was like,
of course,
I don't want to bring up a Magic comparison. I'm gonna get railroad. Everyone's gonna be like, what are you talking about? I was like, I actually felt like when I was playing it, I'm like, this is so funny because this feels like baby Magic. It's you don't have, you know how in Magic you have I counter spell, you have these things to sort of mitigate things that are going on. In this one, it's just take your turn, the other person takes a turn. Do you take your turn? The other person, and everything is very direct and very straightforward. You're not there's not a bunch of sifting through and now I have I don't know. There doesn't have the complexity
There's
of
no
Magic.
Stacks, exactly. And
but I liked that it was if you did it, you could just sit down and play this and it'd be oh, but I kind of get a feel for that just one-on-one direct attack thing.
Yeah. I just got to say, you're just saying that it was a really good choice for my YouTube video. So thank you. I really appreciate that. I agree. It fits right. I would say Radlands is very similar in that it's Magic light. It's a head-to-head, even though it's a totally different mechanisms. Totally. That's what it reminds me of. And it does have you make your own deck in this game. The second thing I was going to say, the only other thing I'll say about it is that middle market is so cool. Because one, there are the bounty hunters that are they're gray or neutral, so either faction can hire them. But your cards that are in the market, you pay resources to purchase. If you have opponents' cards in there, you can attack them with your cards to remove them from the board so that your opponent, because if you see Luke Skywalker, he's just OP. If you don't kill him before the rebels get him, he's way too powerful. And the Vader's the same way on the other side. So I just love that. I think that's such a cool thing that it's even if your opponent gets all his cards in the middle or whatever, you have a way to mitigate and use your damage to throw it. I love that. Love that market.
Yeah, this one is one that I have in my collection that I've been trying to get to the table with my wife because she's a huge fan of Star Realms and Shards of Infinity. We got rid of Star Realms over Shards of Infinity just because you can play it better with multiplayer, at least in my opinion. But I replaced Star Realms with this in hopes that I can get it to the table with her because I played it and I was like, oh, this is so good. When everybody is listening to this will be the day after
Yes, the 4th.
May the 4th, right? So
Star Wars Day.
Hopefully this upcoming weekend, this will be enough for me to get it to the table with her, and I will report back on this. Okay?
You'll be playing it on Revenge of the Sith here.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? Sorry. I'm gonna because I have both. I have the Clone Wars and I have the base game. So I'm gonna, you know what I'm doing? I'm 3D print the insert that fits both into the base box, and then I'm going to show, hey babe, do you see this 3D print? Like how I was able to do this. Do you want to play this now? Because not for nothing. I would say for the past 4 nights, I've caught her, playing Star Realms on her the app on her phone. So
nice.
I'm gonna say, hey, I know you're in that Star Realms fix. So this is perfect time to try this game. This is Star Wars weekend. So yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. Great pick, Alba. Actually, yeah, right in time in time. When this episode drops, it is Revenge of the 5th, the day after.
Yes,
May
it'll
the 4th.
be.
Yeah.
May the 5th be with you.
Yeah, that's great.
See, I know all the Star Wars lingo.
You do. You know it all. You and your son are already making Star Wars Legos. That's great. I love it. I'm very glad, and I just need to play my Clone Wars version soon. All right. My En La Mesa is a lighter game, and this is a game called Tipperary, as they'd say in the Ireland land, Tipperary as an American. It is a 2023 game, 2 to 5 players. Designers Gunter Burkhardt, artists Ari Oliver and Clemens Franz, which I did not know until today. Published by Lookout Spiel, which we love. It is super light, so I'm going to throw this right away. I think this could be Grandma. But, it's in between Grandma and Gateway, So, like, I think I could teach this to my in-laws who are grandparents. So I'm going to say Grandma, actually. And I think I want to. It is a family game that uses polyominoes and simultaneous play. And the big thing I want to talk about it is it's another board game arena where I just started messing around with it. I saw it. I don't know. Actually, I have to give a shout out. I know who I have to shout out. Better Mood Board Games. Shout out to Dana. She's got a Discord channel, and every month you pick a game that's going to be the pick of the month, and then you play it for the whole month. It's got to be somewhere digital so that everybody can play it. And then we vote on if we love it or not. And there's actually been a couple picks lately that I didn't love it. I played one game of Tipperary, and I'm like, this game is really cool. And I kept playing it. And I kept playing it, and I'm like, oh, this might be perfect for the queen. It's polyominoes. It's super light. There's no cards. But the craziest part about it, which I did not realize till like 3 games in, I was like, we'll see. How are we getting these tiles? Because in Board Game Arena, it does all this stuff for you, again, which is why I love BGA. Yeah, but sometimes that can be a detriment because you're like, how did this happen? Where's the setup? There is a spinner, like no joke, straight up OG spinner, and you spin the thing, and it's 5 different insignias. I forget what they call it, but whatever they call it in Ireland, and your badge of honor for your family clan, and wherever that lands, there are 2 polyominoes. Your crest, exactly. There are 2 polyominoes, and you pick one of the 2. So it's completely random. Like, you are just going to get to the 2 tiles you have to choose from, which is a decision, are going to be made for you by the spinner, though. And so that already, I feel like, is going to push a lot of people off. But for the weight of game it is, like, it just fits so perfect. So how it works is you spin the magic stone circle or whatever, and then you get to pick your 2 little polyominoes. You pick one. You put them down. There's only like 5 types of tiles, so I can just talk about them really quick. There's the sheep, which is really cute. The sheep are, there could be 1 or 2 on a tile. You put them next to each other. You want to group them together. The person with the largest flock is going to get 5 extra points at the end of the game. So when you have the largest flock at the moment, you have that 5 points in front of you. If Alba were to get 1 more than me after this turn, we pass it to her. But what's interesting is if I tie you back again and you had it and we're at the exact number, you keep it. The person who got it first is going to keep it. So that's like probably the most complicated thing in the whole game. But you're competing for biggest flock. There's also plain green tiles that are just called pastures, and those are for you to place sheep on later. So you kind of want to set up your board so that you can add more sheep to make a big flock. And the sheep are just these, they're the typical Uwe Rosenberg German sheep, which I love. I don't know why. I just find them so endearing. But it has, cute. They're very cute.
Sheeples.
And it has one other,
yes.
Sheeples. Just like everybody in America, just sheeples. But what I love too is they have the other wooden component is these little whiskey barrels. And so every person on their little personal player board has a little whiskey barrel to track a score track. And every time you touch a yellow plain, like grass, it's like the plains field with a distillery, you get to bump up on that track. And it's just points at the end of the game. Yeah, you bump a track, and there's a few points. There's 3 different points where you gain another sheep when you pump that track. So if you get some more whiskey, you're going to get some more sheep. There's some, the like stones are going to give you just like straight up points. There are the ruins, which are really cool. The ruins, there are like the brown 3 ruins. If you get 3 in a straight line, you get to grab a tower at the end of the game. And you can even do like a little plus symbol and that'll count twice at the end of the game. And the reason you do that is to fill gaps. So think like a patchwork or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But in this game, there's no negative points. It's just you're going to score for your largest contiguous rectangle. And so you're trying to make this large rectangle. That's the biggest thing that's going to score you points is just if you have a 7x7, you're getting 49 points. Plus you score for each sheep in your biggest flock. And if you have the biggest flock, you get 5 points. You score for all your little magic circles and you score for your whiskey track. And that's it. That's literally all the other things. There's one other little tile that's called the bog. If you put 2 bogs next to each other, you get an extra random tile, that these like single tiles that again help you fill in gaps. So it's really simple. Again, everybody's placing at the same time based on the magical spinner, and you're building this thing out. It is 12 turns exactly. I have played it. Like, I'm not kidding. 3-player, 7 times, turn-based in the last, like, week and a half, like 10 days or so. So we're, like, getting through a game in, like, a day, going back and forth, 3-player turn-based. It's just that fast. And then the Queen and I sat down and have played this together in real life. I bought it just bar none. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I need this game, and I love it. So that's Tipperary.
And what did the Queen say?
She said, yes. So let's. She's a polyomino fan. She loves patchwork and she loves Botnik. And she said it's great. She said it's good. She said it's good. She didn't say it's great. So
you got to get the wording right, Reg.
Got to get the wording right. Let's see if she listens to this. But that means that she'll play it again. I'm really excited to show it to like her parents. I think it would be fun for like us 4 to play. I think it'd be a cute like family game that we get to do a little puzzle. We're all playing simultaneously. There's not a lot of downtime. So that's Tipperary.
Yeah, one question, Reg. Why haven't you invited me to a game of this yet?
Yeah, you want to play? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get it. I'm inviting you to 2 games tonight.
Let's
Loot
do it.
and Tipperary, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No,
Reggie
and Fairy
showed
Trails.
me. Reggie,
Wait, and Fairy Trails. Yeah.
Is that on BGA? No.
It's on Board Game Arena. It
Oh,
is.
you kidding?
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Well, see, you can play it. It's gonna take.
Don't out me right now.
I
Don't
can't believe on BGA you could probably play in like 5 minutes. I feel like because it speeds everything up. Like it's such a short game in real life. I feel like Fairy Trails is probably gonna be 5 minutes because you're don't have to bother with like picking up the tiles. It's just gonna be in a flash.
Yeah, that.
Did you want to out me about my tables?
I was gonna out you, and then you got embarrassed. So I didn't. Okay,
no, it's
you know
okay.
what?
You can do it. You can do it.
I was just gonna say, like, I can't believe you're gonna add more tables. Reggie earlier tonight sent Colin and I a picture of his current BGA tables, and I like just about fell out of my chair. I wasn't even sitting.
The gifts she sent me of stress. I'm at 36 current turn-based tables, which is close to a high. Not my all-time high.
That's mania.
Yeah, but it's just the key is having very quick turn games. Okay, it's all I gotta say. I'm gonna add 2.
I'm in admiration.
So on to Everdell Silverfrost, which is
I'm seated.
A 2025 game designed by James A. Wilson and Clarissa A. Wilson from publisher now called Tycoon Games. Originally was Starling Games, and whatever they changed to after that, the Tabletop Tycoon. Now they are Tycoon Games. This is from the Everdell series. Specifically, this is their Edge of the Map series of games. They're standalone Everdell games. So if you are familiar with Everdell, there's not going to be much new here, and I will highlight those things later. But this pretty much is a worker placement tableau building style game where on your turn you're going to be placing out your animal meeples out onto the board to collect resources, to complete objectives, to score, to also build cards out into your city, into this tableau. You're going to be able to play up to 15 cards into your tableau, and there's various different types of cards that you can build into your tableau. You can build critters and you can build constructions, but of those 2 types of cards you can build, there's different categories of them. There are I don't remember all the colors are purple, blue, green, red, and tan. I believe those are all the colors. The purple are going to be they're the production cards, I believe, that at the very end of the game, or the prosperity cards at the very end of the game, they will score you points based on the end of the game. The blue cards give you they kind of like they have this trigger based off of them. You have the green cards, which when you play the cards with the green label, they give you an effect, but there are other points in the game where you can trigger your green cards in your city. You're going to have your red cards, and the red cards are I forget, again, I don't know all the names of the cards, but the red cards are other locations. So you can go out to locations on the actual game board, but also you can go out to the red cards, which are locations in front of your city. But what's interesting about this one is not only can you go to the location on your card, some of those red cards have a location where opposing players can come to it as well. And when opposing players visit that card and place one of their meeples on your card, you're going to gain a victory point. So pretty much a token that's going to count as a point. And then you have your tan cards, which are just one-off abilities. As soon as you play that card into your city, it gives you it triggers an effect. But like regular Everdell, you're going to be gathering resources. You're going to be playing cards into your tableau. But what's interesting is it introduces 2 new elements. One is fire, which is this new resource, and another one is snow. So there's this mountain. I know if you're familiar with Everdell, there's this big tree that makes this beautiful table presence on the board. Some people complain about it because...
Hold on, real quick. Alba, are you familiar with the Everdell tree? Do you know anything about it?
I know not what you speak of.
She Alba's world famous for
yes,
calling out the Everdell
I've been
tree.
Notorious for like
notorious.
and I know a lot of people hate the tree because, like I said, it's there. But it doesn't do anything, right?
Not
sometimes it just it makes also looking onto the board very difficult. But this you have. With the Edge of the Map series, they created the 3D components, but also they have a 2D component that you can lay out on the board. But pretty much on this mountain, there's going to be what they have, depending on the player count, is going to be beacons. There's pretty much spots that you can visit that allow you to activate these big critters, or they're called big helpers, that are on the board, and they're pretty much another animals that you can trigger. When you trigger them, you're going to score points based off of which one you trigger, and some of them they'll have one-off effects. A lot of these one-off effects can trigger off of cards that you have in your tableau. There are other ways to put cards into your tableau, just different things. But the fire is very interesting because you're going to need to gather fire, because as the game goes from season to season, there's going to be snowfall that's going to come onto the board. It will not only go onto the board to cover spaces, it will also go onto your own personal cards in your tableau, where it pretty much nullifies that card or that location where you cannot visit it or cannot activate it unless you pay fire to get the snow off. When you get the snow off, you collect that snow, and you're going to be able to score points at the end of the game based off of which version you're playing. Whether you're playing the basic, you're going to score 1 point for every snow token that you pretty much clear, and the person with the most is going to score 5 points. But if you play the more competitive advance, you're pretty much everybody's vying for whoever has the most is going to just score 12 points. So there's that quest to clear the most snow. But as you're going to go through the game, there's going to be quest cards that you're trying to complete. There's going to be objectives that you're trying to fulfill as well. I guess I forget. There's the lowland and highland quests is what they're called. But what I really love about this version of Everdell, yes, I've already said it, I do love this version of Everdell. It is currently the best version of Everdell there is.
Wow, that's
Therefore,
a statement.
I said it. And that is because it gives us what we love, Reggie, so much about viticulture is that grande worker, but in this one, it's called the Ranger. The Ranger has the snowshoes, so it can go to various ports on the board. Anytime you place that Ranger into a location that does not already have another meeple there, you're going to gain fire from it. It's also cool because when you go to a location where it requires fire, it pretty much you're going to gain that fire, and then you can use that fire on that turn because certain locations will require fire to use. Another thing I know in regular Everdell, there's these occupy tokens, so you can place the occupy token on a card that allows you to trigger the effect of another card or build another card. This one gives you these 2 chimneys that you have in the game, and when you play those 2 chimneys, you can do that to pretty much do the same effect of the occupy token, which is when you play a chimney, you can play a specific type of critter dependent on which chimney effect you're triggering on a card. What I really like about this game is it's not like that base game Everdell where there's those like, set number of combos that everybody is going for in the game. There are so many different combos that come out. The combos trigger off of the critters that are in the mountain that you're trying to hire. The combos trigger off of the cards that you're building that kind of combo off of each other, but also the chimney combos, because you'll find ways to trigger these chimneys where you only have 2 and they get utilized, but if you get the right cards, you can find ways to get those chimneys off and reutilize them. Yeah, this one, it's the best one out there currently right now, and I've watched, and I've seen the videos for Emerland, the new one that just recently was funded on Kickstarter. Yep. And that one has some things that intrigue me a lot about what they offer. So I'm excited to try that one. But right now, I wouldn't play any of the other Everdells. This replaces base Everdell for me. This replaces base Everdell with any combination of the expansions.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Everdell. It's a game that I love, and it, I don't think I would even try Farshore. Farshore is just a quicker version of Everdell. I don't want quick. I just want a game that plays. If I want a quick version of Everdell, I'm gonna play my little Everdell with my daughter and have a great time and get my butt whooped. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. But yes, this one is. I think if you're a fan of Everdell, and you currently have base game Everdell and you're considering getting an expansion, I would just say bypass the expansion and just get this. That's what I would say. Get this one. Cool. If you've never played Everdell and you're interested in Everdell, Farshore plays quicker. So if you want to have a quick version of a game, you can get Farshore and then get this one. I think it fixes a lot of those things that people were like, I like Everdell, but the combinations, when somebody gets those cards, it's like they're going to win, or they're going to, a skilled player. Yeah, this is a very fun one. The Edge of the Map series, I think they did it well with this one. So
cool.
Yeah, honestly, I had some questions, but you kind of answered them all. I was really thinking of how to compare this to Farshore. So for me, I got rid of my base Everdell recently. That's all I had. And I also had Everdell Duo, which was on my shelf of shame, and I just passed it on because I know I wasn't going to convince the queen. So I'm waiting to decide between Farshore, Silverfrost, and Emerland. I do want to see what Emerland's all about because I love that lush rainforest. Yes. Visually, it looks really cool. So I'm going to check them all out. But I think it's going to be between Silverfrost and Emerland now, based on your and I think our friend Colin was just playing it too, and I think he really liked it. So,
yep,
right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Wow, we did it, people. We got to the end. We played a 43-minute long game of Family Feud with your host, Rondell Jones. And let me tell you the results. I was able to do some tabulating over the last hour or so. So our boy Jazz finished. I gave points based on how many people had given that answer. So our boy Jazz finished with 196 points. That's a lot of tacos, people. That's a lot of tacos. And then Alba, our guest, with no fudging of any numbers, very close game, got 204. So it was an 8-point game for Family Feud.
I'm shocked. I really thought Jazz had it, but yeah.
Yeah,
it was
and you guys,
taken.
yeah, it was awesome. You guys mostly got 4 or 5. That was thank you. We'll have to do something like that with another guest down the line.
We'll just have to do a special episode of Board States that's just Board States Family Feud.
Yeah, we could totally do that. Yeah, just like all games. Oops, all mini games.
Oops, all games. Yeah.
And then I think the main topic was great. Thank you for all the great picks. I'll just recap them really quickly. Fairy Trails, Shobu, Loot, Cartagena Escape Diaries, Holmes, Sherlock, and Mycroft, oh my gosh, and Jaws were the games that we brought up for games that are underrated, above 1,000, some well above 1,000, some better than others. And we talked about our En La Mesa games, Tipperary, Everdell, Silverfrost, and Star Wars, the deck building game. May the 4th be with you. Jazz, do you want to close us out?
Now, first and foremost, big shout out and thanks to Alba for joining us here.
Thank you.
We loved having you.
It's been a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Although I got my butt whooped, but listen, it's great to listen to, also to learn about some games that that. Well, let's talk about underrated games. I love this hobby so much because when someone has played a game that they really enjoy and they introduce it to you, you get excited to want to try this, and then you get excited to want to share it with other people, and that's what I love about this hobby.
But the best hobby in the world.
Yeah.
That's right.
Again,
TM.
Before we close out, we not only give a huge shout out to Alba, we'll also give a huge shout out to our podcast music from my buddy Judge, aka at Dre the Producer on IG, but of course Alba's big good friend Kenan at Punchboard Cathedral for our awesome board game logo, second best board game logo in the biz.
Second best in the biz. Uh-huh.
But again, we always want to thank our listeners for listening to us talk about the best hobby in the world, board games, because you could be spending your time doing many other things, but you chose to listen to us right here on Board States, the podcast where friends become rivals and the board states decide the outcome. We will see you on the next one.
Nos vemos.